Hello and welcome. For millennia, our world has been a tapestry woven with threads of the unknown, a collection of stories with missing pages. Ever wondered about the secrets that baffled historians for centuries? The whispers of lost colonies, the shadows of unidentified killers, the silent stones holding ancient secrets. These puzzles have captivated our imagination, yet curiosity persists until light breaks through, it probes, it questions, and it persists until answers emerge. Today we celebrate the solved. From vanished colonies to ancient machines, here are 20 historical mysteries that have, at last, been solved. Let us begin. In 1590, a supply ship returned to an English colony on Roanoke Island to find it utterly deserted. The 100-plus men, women, and children had vanished, leaving behind dismantled houses and a single cryptic clue carved into a post: Croatoan. For centuries, this was the ghost story of America's birth, a lost colony swallowed by the wilderness. But the clue wasn't a mystery, it was an address. Croatoan was the name of a nearby island, now called Hatteras, and home to a friendly Algonquian tribe. Recent archaeological digs on Hatteras have unearthed the truth. In layers of soil dated to the late 16th century, they found English signet rings, parts of muskets, and iron tools intermingled directly with Native American pottery and arrowheads. This wasn't a trade site, it was a settlement. The colonists, likely facing starvation, had moved south to live with their allies. Genetic studies have since found English DNA markers among modern descendants of the Croatoan people, whose oral histories have long told of ancestors who could read and write. It wasn't a vanishing, but a story of survival through assimilation. In the autumn of 1888, a killer known as Jack the Ripper plunged London's Whitechapel district into a state of terror. 5 brutal murders were attributed to him, but his identity remained a complete mystery, creating the most infamous cold case in history. He was never caught, and the panic eventually subsided, leaving only speculation. The breakthrough came from a stained silk shawl, said to have been recovered from the body of victim Catherine Eddowes. For over a century it was a macabre heirloom, but in 2014, scientists extracted mitochondrial DNA from stains on the fabric. They compared it to living descendants of both the victim and a primary police suspect, a Polish barber named Aaron Kosminski, who was known to be mentally ill and lived in the area. The DNA was a match. While the shawl's journey from the crime scene is debated, the genetic link provides the first piece of physical evidence pointing to one man. For millennia, Stonehenge has stood as a silent monument to a forgotten purpose. Was it a celestial calendar, a temple for druid sacrifice? The mystery was its isolation. But modern science has revealed it was never alone. Using ground-penetrating radar and magnetic surveys, the Stonehenge Hidden Landscapes Project scanned the surrounding area, uncovering a vast, invisible world. They found dozens of previously unknown monuments, chapels, and burial mounds. Stonehenge was the centerpiece of a massive ceremonial landscape dedicated to the dead. Isotope analysis of cremated remains shows that for centuries, elites from across Britain and Europe were brought here for burial. The famous solar and lunar alignments weren't just for agriculture, they were part of a grand ritual theater, connecting the world of the living with the realm of the ancestors, all centered on this monumental cemetery. Around the 9th century CE, one of the world's great civilizations entered a terminal decline. The magnificent stone cities of the southern Maya lowlands, home to millions, were steadily abandoned, left to be reclaimed by the jungle. For years, scholars debated the cause: endemic warfare, peasant revolts, or a mysterious disease. The answer, it turns out, was written in the mud of lake beds and the stone of cave formations. By analyzing sediment cores and stalagmites, paleoclimatologists reconstructed the region's climate history with stunning precision. Their data revealed that the period of the collapse coincided perfectly with a series of prolonged and severe droughts, a mega-drought that lasted for over a century. This climate catastrophe didn't happen in a vacuum. It was exacerbated by widespread deforestation for agriculture and the production of lime plaster for their temples. The resulting crop failures, famine, and political instability created a perfect storm, a slow, relentless squeeze that brought a civilization to its knees. Etched across the desolate plains of southern Peru are hundreds of enormous figures, the Nazca lines. So vast they are only fully visible from the sky. Their existence fueled decades of speculation about alien visitors and astronomical maps. The how is simple. The Nazca people created the lines by removing the dark, iron oxide-coated desert pebbles to expose the lighter, sandy soil beneath. The arid, windless climate has preserved them for nearly 2 millennia. The real mystery was, why? The answer lies in the most precious resource in a desert: water. Researchers discovered that many of the lines, particularly the straight ones, act as markers, pointing directly to underground water sources or ceremonial sites related to water. The figures of animals like spiders, monkeys, and birds are thought to be symbols of water and fertility. These weren't just images to be seen, but massive sacred routes to be walked. They were processional pathways, where entire communities would perform rituals, walking the shape of a deity as a collective prayer for the rain that would sustain their lives. The myth of Rome's Ninth Legion is a classic. 5,000 soldiers marching into the Scottish mists, never to return. But the dramatic story of their annihilation is just that, a story. The Ninth Legion wasn't wiped out in Scotland. Records place it in the Netherlands afterward. Inscriptions and tile stamps confirm its presence there long after it supposedly vanished. The likely scenario is that the Legion was transferred east to quell conflicts, and was probably disbanded years later following a defeat. A quiet, bureaucratic end for a unit once thought lost. For a century, the Voynich manuscript has been the Everest of cryptography. Its pages of bizarre illustrations and unique script defied the world's best codebreakers. But what if it isn't a code? A 2019 proposal argued the text is written in Proto-Romance, a lost ancestor of languages like French and Italian. According to this theory, the book is a practical guide to women's health and herbal remedies. While still debated, it provides the first coherent working solution to the manuscript's foundational mystery. After his death at the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485, King Richard III's body was lost to history. For 500 years his grave was a mystery. Then in 2012, archaeologists dug beneath a Leicester car park, the historical site of the Greyfriars Friary. They found a skeleton with severe scoliosis and battle injuries, traits consistent with accounts of Richard III. The final proof came from genetics. Scientists extracted mitochondrial DNA from the bones, matching it to living matrilineal descendants of Richard's sister. The lost king was found. The Black Death killed up to half of Europe's population, but its origin remained a mystery. The answer was found in ancient cemeteries near Lake Issyk-Kul in Kyrgyzstan. Tombstones dated to 1338-1339 mentioned deaths from a pestilence. Scientists extracted ancient DNA from the teeth of these victims, finding the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Sequencing showed this was a progenitor strain, the direct ancestor of the plague that would ravage the world just years later. This was the pandemic's ground zero, patient zero found, the Bermuda Triangle, a supposed paranormal vortex swallowing ships and planes. Sensational myths claimed a deadly zone was responsible for disappearances. The truth is far more mundane. Data shows no statistically unusual danger in the region, given its heavy traffic. Instead, science points to a perfect storm of natural phenomena, volatile weather, and the powerful Gulf Stream current, which quickly disperses wreckage. Famous cases like the loss of Flight 19 trace directly to human error and severe weather, not the paranormal. The Great Pyramid's construction has long fueled speculation from lost tech to aliens. The reality is a story of human achievement. No aliens, just extraordinary organization and engineering. The Merer Diary, a 4500-year-old logbook, was a key discovery. It details canal transport bringing blocks to an inland port by the pyramid, solving the transport puzzle. For lifting, a ramp system, likely straight augmented by internal spirals, enabled precise placement of the multi-ton stones. This monumental task was accomplished by thousands of skilled, well-fed workers, not slaves, who were housed, paid, and respected for their craft. The legend of the Man in the Iron Mask suggests a royal twin threatening Louis XIV's throne. The reality is more subtle. Not a royal twin, but a secret prisoner hidden behind velvet. Decades of research into prison records have unmasked him. Evidence points to Eustache Dogger, a valet entangled in dangerous state secrets. He likely knew of a financial or diplomatic scandal that could have embarrassed the king. To silence him, he was imprisoned for life. His identity was masked to prevent scandal, not protect the throne. The elaborate secrecy was to bury a political embarrassment, not a royal bloodline. How did the Rapa Nui people move Easter Island's colossal moai? Their oral history says the statues walked, and science now agrees. The statues were likely walked upright using ropes and rocking. Experimental archaeology shows this controlled side-to-side motion moves them forward. A brilliant, low-tech solution that explains the many toppled statues found along ancient roads. Their final placement was also strategic. The platforms, or ahu, are not random. They consistently cluster near springs and sources of fresh groundwater, acting as solemn guardians and markers of precious water, the island's most vital resource. In 1937, Amelia Earhart vanished during her world flight attempt. While many assumed a crash at sea, evidence points to a tragic end on Nikumaroro, an uninhabited atoll. Artifacts on Nikumaroro, shoe fragments, anti-freckle cream, and aircraft aluminum matching a custom repair on her plane, fit her story. The crucial clue involves bones found there in 1940. Though lost, their original measurements were re-evaluated using modern forensics. The analysis concluded the measurements suit a female of Earhart's build, supporting the heartbreaking castaway scenario that she survived the crash, only to perish on the island. Pulled from a Roman-era shipwreck, it was a corroded lump of bronze, its purpose a mystery for decades. Modern imaging has revealed its secrets. High-res X-rays reconstructed a stunningly complex 2nd century BC gearwork device. It was the world's first analog computer, predicting the positions of the sun, moon, and planets, and even forecasting eclipses. It was also a social calendar, with a dial to track the 4-year Olympic cycle. This mechanical cosmos, a portable universe in a box, demonstrates a level of engineering that wouldn't be seen again for over 1,000 years. Troy was real. Hisarlik in Turkey reveals layered cities. Troy the Itha shows fiery destruction around 1180 BC, a likely historic war behind the epic. In 1988, radiocarbon dating placed the linen in the Middle Ages. Results align with its first records. Pigments suggest a masterful medieval image. Schliemann's controversial work began the find. Later, science confirmed Hisarlik as Troy, the legendary city located at last. 1971 skyjacker vanished after a night parachute jump. Independent investigators amassed circumstantial evidence toward Robert Rackstraw, though the FBI hasn't confirmed it. Hundreds danced to collapse, once blamed on curses or poison. Modern analysis points to mass psychogenic illness amid famine, disease, and fear. From lost colonies to ancient computers, answers reshape our past. Persistence, ingenuity, and science bring light to legend. Which solved mystery surprised you most? Tell us in the comments. Like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's biggest questions. Until next time, keep questioning.